Hey guys, MeLikeBigBoom here, and welcome to Unturned 3.15.1.0. This week's update mainly added a ton of changes to the level editor in order to make maps a whole lot easier. So we're going to have to add into the level editor. We can go there by going into Workshop, Editor, and selecting a map or creating one and editing it. Alright, so we're here on the Washington map, and regarding some of the changes here on the level editor, we have a new road system, which is very cool. I'll show you guys how to use that, as well as a new terrain system and new noise options for materials and heights. Pretty cool stuff. So right now, let's start with the new road system. Now, this is very, very cool, not gonna lie. So some veteran map makers might be able to notice that the nodes look a little different and that they have these little pull tab nodes right next to them, and these are very similar to the pen tool in Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. So if you guys are familiar with those programs, placing down roads is going to be very simple for you. So for example, let's say we want to create a road that's branching off from here and heading over to here. Before, what we would end up doing is we would go into the environment, we go into roads, and then we select highway here, and we just kind of manually place down some roads like this. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, it worked pretty well. If we bake roads here, it did a pretty good job here. It went around the corner and stuff like that. But with the new system, we do not need to be entering in this many nodes. We can select here, and then here, and then here. And then by dragging these little tabs here, by clicking it and pressing E to put it in a new position, we've now created a new curve around here. And we can tweak this all we want, you know, we can get it going maybe like that. And then we can select this little pull tab here. So we'll select this and we'll make sure it's perfectly perpendicular to the road here. Looking good. And then once you've got that set, you can bake roads, and now we've just created the same kind of road. I mean, there were a few issues here that we can easily fix, but yeah, we've created this road using only 3 nodes, and because we use so few nodes, we have a nice smooth transition between these nodes. You can see that the edge of this road is nice and perfect, and it's following along very gradually, whereas before it was a little jagged when you have the nodes like this system. As you can see, we have these jagged edges here, and by having this whole curved node system, it's a lot more smooth to have all these roads like this. Now, there are some new systems here in place. You'll see in the bottom left corner, we have loop, ignore terrain, and mirror, and you click this and it alternates between aligned and free modes and stuff like that. The loop system allows you to create a perfect circle. So if you are creating like a roundabout for whatever reason and you need the road to connect back to itself, so brief example here, let's say we want to create a perfect circle here. Before, what you'd have to do is you'd have to bake it, and then you have to do your very best to make sure that it lines up to the road. And it will never actually be perfectly lined up. It's pretty much impossible. But what you can do is you can select the starting node and check loop, and it will connect them, like so. So now we got a perfect circle. Look at that. Perfect. Regarding the ignore terrain checkbox, this is useful for, let's say, if you're making train tracks go across a bridge. Before, you'd select here and here, and you'll see here with the new system, it's following along with the ground, and that's not what we want. So as you can see here, we have the train tracks are underwater. We don't want that. We want it to go across the bridge. So we'll select the node that we started with, check ignore terrain, and then it will literally connect these 2 nodes perfectly with each other without paying attention to the terrain. They'll just linear connect the nodes right next to each other, and then bada bing, bada boom, you got a train track going across this bridge. Now the mirror and aligned and free mode applies to these little pull tabs. So if we have it on free mode, we can have these nodes, they're completely free to do whatever they want. So if you want to have like a kink in the road for whatever reason, like so, you'll just be free to drag each one of these little pull tabs around if you'd like. So that is what the free mode does. And then the mirror version will make sure that these pull tabs will always be mirrored with each other. If we select it again, if we set it to mirror mode, you'll see that the pull tabs will always be at the same angle of each other and the same distance apart. So this is probably going to be your preferred setting to make nice smooth roads. So that's the mirror setting. We can have a nice snake here. And then if we want it on the align setting, this makes it to where the 2 nodes will be the same angle, but you can have different distances. So you can have a less gradual snake here, and then a much more sharp snake here. For whatever reason, this is all stuff, if you're experienced with the pen tool in Photoshop, this is all the kind of stuff that you can do in there. And these are the different options for that. We have aligned, free, mirror, stuff like that. But anyway, that's the new road system. Very, very cool. It's super easy to make some nice gradual long roads now, and hopefully this will make map making that much easier when it comes to placing down roads. Alright, so regarding the new materials system, now I don't really remember what this was like before, so I'm not going to be able to draw any comparisons here, but what I can say is that there is a new high quality and low quality system here. Now it's from my understanding that when that preview baked button is checked, you are taking a look at what the materials will look like when you actually load the map up in game. Now if you want to manually paint in some textures, you are going to need to be in the low quality mode. So you'll uncheck preview baked and you'll notice that everything got a little bit more simple. As you can see, the transitions between these materials nice and basic. So let's say we wanted to convert the parking lot of this from asphalt to gravel. So we'd select gravel here, and we check manually painted, all this stuff here, manually painted, ignore steepness, ignore height, ignore footprint, so that when we bake, it's not overriding everything that we're painting in here. And then we will manually paint in this mode. And keep in mind that you can only paint in on the low quality mode. If you're previewing the final version, it won't let you draw, because this is just previewing what the finished materials will look like. So once you're in the editor mode, you preview this, we got the dirt here, and then once we bake high quality, it will say, hey, okay, I took everything that you entered in the low quality mode, I baked it, and now this is what the finished materials will look like. We now have a gravel parking lot here. We also have this new noise option down there, and if you drag that slider up, it will create, well, noise in your brush. So your brush will be all spotty and stuff like this. Now, I might need to drag my noise quite a bit higher, but you can see here you can create some nice transitions between the sand, or kind of rocks in this case, between the sand and the dirt or whatever. You can just create some better transitions between different materials by having this noise system here. So we paint in like so, and then we bake the high quality here, and as you can see, we have kind of a better splotchy transition between the sand and the grass. So it actually creates kind of a cool effect, to be honest. Look at that. Pretty cool. And also the same thing has been applied to the heights system. So we can drag the noise up, and it's very useful for creating some nice rough mountains. So if we drag this way up, drag the strength a little bit down, and we just kind of click every once in a while here, you'll see that it's now become a little bit rough on the front here. You can see that we have these shapes here. And if we have it on strength high and then like this, you can see that it's creating this really weird stuff like this. I mean, this is way too extreme, but you get the idea. Also, we have a new scale tool for objects. So check this out. We can scale up this entire building to be huge. Look at the size of this. So then we can drag this whole thing up, and now we can have like maps that just take place or make you seem super tiny. So really, like this is huge. I mean, it looks normal right now. I mean, take a look at this. Looks pretty normal, right? Well, look at the size of this house. So that's a new scale option. You're not limited by scaling overall. You can drag the side things like this to make things smaller or larger, or for whatever reason, or more flat. Whatever you'd like, we can scale in any direction, and then dragging the white part like this scales it evenly. We also have new camera tools for ascending and descending the camera. This is defaulted to Q and E, by the way, so now you can do some pretty cool shots. As well as lastly, we have tons and tons of new destructible objects as promised last week. These are the new destructible objects. We have coolers like so, of which pop the lid off. It's very cool. Look at that. And especially with an explosion, these things fly. It's awesome. We have these beach chairs, which kind of poof, and then these chairs now fall over. Very cool. And then we have the umbrellas that fall over, as well as the mannequin, and kind of got some friendly fire there. These filing cabinets kind of open up as well. Same with the lockers. Pretty cool. The presents open up. These were only on the holiday festive map that was added at Christmas time last year. You also have the bar stools, park benches, lamps like so. They fall over. The chalkboards fall over. The bus stops break in half. Look at that. And same with the chair. It kind of falls over here. So you can smash a bus through the bus station. That'll be pretty cool. And then also a gravestone, which just falls over like so. So anyway, I mean, that's all of the destructible objects as well, and that also concludes everything that was added in Unturned 3.15.1.0. As I said earlier, lots of awesome new additions to the level editor that will make map making a lot easier, as well as some more destructible objects, which is always nice. This also means that we can fully smash through the entire Taylor Beach area. We can just smash right through it with our cars, so that'll be pretty fun as well. But anyway, there were a few minor little tweaks and improvements that I did not cover in this video, but if you guys like to check those out, as always, I'll put the full update post in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and do all that gibberish, because MeLikeBigBoom is out.